We don't often talk about baseball on this programme. We talk about all sorts of other sports, huge in the USA, of course, but my next guest is from Lincolnshire and described as one of the top baseball players in the UK. Ben Powell is 17 years old. He's from Potterhamworth and is in the Great Britain baseball team. Ben, morning to you.
Morning, Mervyn.
Crikey, this is a bit of a thing to chat about. How long have you been playing baseball?
I've been playing just over 12 months, actually. So
very short period.
The first time I picked up a baseball was 12 months ago, yeah. So I come from a cricket background, and the baseball's just taking off, really.
So tell me about your cricketing first, then. How long have you been playing cricket?
I started when I was 10. I played for Nottinghamshire 2 years when I was 12, I think. And then I got in the Northamptonshire squad when I was 15. And then I just had to quit Northamptonshire last year for my baseball because it's just taken off, even though I've been playing a year. So
here is the choice, then. The choice between, do you stick with your cricket, do you go the baseball route? What made you pick up a baseball bat, then, in the first place? You got your cricket bat. Why a baseball bat?
We were at a cricket game, a county game, and I was just warming up, kind of loosening my arm, and I said to Dad, I just want to throw one as far as I can. So we paced out about 75 yards, and I threw it, and it just sailed over his head. And we paced out, I think it was about 84 yards in the end. I was 15 at the time, and Dad said a throwaway comment to my mum when we got home, I should just try baseball. So Mum took it literally, and she got on the computer and found out all these places that do baseball, which is there's hardly any.
Let's bring Mum and Dad into the conversation then. Mum is Helen, that's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Dad, I haven't got Dad's name.
It's John.
So we've got Helen and John with us. So Helen, when you went onto the internet, what did you find? Did you find lots of baseball teams to join?
No, but what I did find, actually, first off, was the British baseball website. It's a fantastic website, and it gave me all of the information that I needed to know, which was, firstly, that there were no teams in Lincolnshire at all, and the nearest were Nottingham and Leicestershire, but also that the British Baseball Organisation were organising a national academy for anybody to go along and have some coaching by these fabulous coaches. They're mostly American and Canadian chaps who were so enthusiastic. So picked up the phone, spoke to somebody at the office in London and said, can I bring my son along? Yes. And that's how we got started, basically, by contacting the British Baseball Organisation.
And what about the teams that we do have in this country? Are they mainly made up of people from Canada and America, then, that are here?
Yes,
Is that how it works?
Actually.
A lot of Spanish,
yes,
Venezuelan.
Oh, really?
Venezuelan, Dominican Republic, yeah.
Oh, crikey.
Quite a lot of them.
So Dad, you saw this wonderful hit of the ball, baseball style. What was going through your mind at the time?
Actually, he threw the ball.
Yeah, it was when he threw it, I mean, and as I say, it sailed over my head, and I thought, my gosh, there's some serious velocity there, and maybe we should give baseball a go. And as Ben said, it was just a throwaway comment to Helen, maybe you should play baseball. And the next thing we knew, he trialled for GB and got straight in the team.
Yeah.
And this crazy thing was, he'd never played a game of baseball in his life.
The first game was for GB.
It's very interesting. Yeah, exactly.
Your first baseball game is for Team GB.
Yeah,
in France.
Britain.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I turned up at my first trial in shorts, t-shirt, and all these guys had the whole kit. They were in baseball pants, they were in jerseys, and I was just in my England cricket shorts and top.
You couldn't use the glove either.
I hated using the glove. When they threw the ball at me, I'd try and catch it with my bare hand because I play cricket. I mean, I don't need a glove.
No, this is and is the technique, because my boys both play cricket, but my boys are always taking the mick out because I can't throw. I'm dreadful at throwing. Is the throwing in baseball different to throwing in cricket?
Yeah, a lot. They take the kind of the Michael out of us. They say we throw like chickens. There's a lot of technique.
Is it because they throw harder, faster? What are they doing?
They tend to throw at about 95 miles an hour, whereas the guys in cricket, they probably top out about 80. But there's just the technique. There's loads of types of chest drive, hip drive. There's just all these things in baseball that aren't shown in cricket because the only time you throw in cricket is to field the ball, and it's not as important.
But the interesting thing is that, okay, you're focusing on your baseball now. If you do go back to cricket at some point, do you think the technique from baseball throwing, will it help your cricket, do you think?
It already has, actually. I made some pretty good run-outs this year from the boundary, and they threw it in, and the batsman had taken a second run. They didn't think about it, and it's just taken the bails off before they've even reached the crease.
I'm fascinated. Lots to talk about. Stay with us. We're going to chat some more in just a minute. This is fascinating, isn't it? fascinating topic we're talking about at the moment. Don't often talk about baseball on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. Ben Powell is with me in the studio, 17-year-old Ben, and been playing for, not really playing, but picked up his first baseball bat about a year ago, and he's part of the GB team. Just confirm again, the first match you played in baseball was for Team GB.
Yeah, it was. It was, I think, April, about 6 months into playing baseball.
Did they lend you some kit?
Well, thankfully I had the kit, but I didn't know how to play, so it was literally I'd get the ball and they would have to scream what to do. So I did make a few errors. It was a bit embarrassing, but that's
and you were used to cricket, so you're used to positioning there. So yes, you be on the boundary, you do this, that, and the other. Is the positioning for baseball, is that different? We want you at such and such spot, and you have to decide where that was going to be.
Well, the places in baseball they're just set. There's nine positions, and that's it. It's so much easier than cricket, where you can have like 100 different types of positions. However, there's types of plays. You get the ball and you want to get two runners out, you have to throw it to a specific base, and then you have to do something. It's just so complicated and absurd. It's just different, and I just didn't understand it.
I assume you were there when he played his first game, were you?
I was.
What was it like?
Oh, it's fantastic. I was so proud of him to see, the national anthem being played, and really, really proud of him. Yeah, it was excellent. It was great fun.
It was worth your research on the internet then, Mum?
It most certainly was.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
And we've got Will Lintern on the line, who I think is your coach, is it right?
Yeah, he's my GB coach, yeah.
Will, morning to you.
Good morning, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. Now, look, we're interesting here because we're talking to Ben and Mum and Dad as well, and we were talking about the cricketing background, and you have cricketing connections as well, don't you?
That's correct, yes. I'm actually currently the fielding coach for Cricket Ireland.
And just tell us how the two sort of can work together. Can they both sort of help each other?
Without a doubt. I mean, the most obvious transition is the fielding aspect. Despite baseball using a glove and cricket not, the basic principles of being in a sound athletic position for fielding a ball, whether it's on the ground or in the air, are almost identical outside of a few minor changes specific to the sport. And then the throwing, I mean, you can either throw a ball well or you can throw it poorly, and that is regardless of whether you're playing cricket or baseball. And there are actually also some surprising crossovers between the bat and the batting sides of the game as well, whether it's hand-eye coordination and just key position. So there's actually, despite baseball being played at a right angle and cricket in a circle, and we get to throw it and they have to bowl it, there are a lot of similarities between the two games.
And why did you get into baseball, Will?
Well, I grew up in the States. My father was a huge kind of cricket fan, and when, through his work, we moved to the States when I was 4, he was keen to find a team sport that kind of matched up with his interests, and baseball ticked all the boxes, and so that was how I got into it. And when we moved back in 1993, my parents just fortunately did a stellar job of, I suppose similar to Ben's parents, like trying to find whatever opportunity there might be to play the game. And fortunately there was a team around the corner from where I grew up in Tunbridge down in Kent.
What do you make of Ben's talent?
Well, I mean, Ben is a phenomenal athlete, and he's demonstrated that in cricket anyway, with the level that he's played. And from a baseball perspective, those raw athletic abilities have transferred over tremendously. Otherwise, he wouldn't have progressed through to the national teams as quickly as he has done. He's had some really good opportunities in the last 12 months to play for the junior national team in France, and he's just come back from a trip to North America, and we're hoping that as a team we can replicate that and also give him some opportunities to play in Europe this next year in 2013. And I think given the right support, put in the right environment, and given the opportunity to receive as much quality coaching as possible, I think Ben's talent could really work out, both for him and for the Great Britain national team program.
Would you like to say something to Will this morning, Ben?
Hi, Coach, how you doing?
Very well, thanks, Ben, very well.
Good.
What have you had to do in terms of coaching for Ben? Is it changing certain styles because he's used to playing cricket? What have you had to do?
Mostly it's just giving him information. One of the fantastic things that a lot of good athletes have, and Ben has this attribute as much as anyone, is the ability to make an adjustment. So he went in, and I do remember the first day when Ben showed up to practice, and we're all in. I mean, in the same way that cricket is quite traditional in its attire and the way how cricketers look, baseball is the same way. So Ben showed up in, I think, shorts and trainers, kind of a cricket look, while we were all in baseball uniform thinking, okay, who is this guy? And one of my coaches came over and said, "Look, you got to look past the shorts thing, and just take a look, see his arm, see what you can do." And so we did, and we had a conversation with Ben, found out about his cricket background, and then it was just about giving him little bits and pieces of, okay, we'll work on this over the next couple of weeks. We'll see you in a month's time. And it was extraordinary how quickly he picked up those changes. Things that some of our other players that we work with, where it would take us maybe a significant amount of time to implement changes, Ben would come back having already implemented that, and it gave us a great opportunity to really help him and get him ready. And quite frankly, I must admit, I didn't think he would have been ready to play for the junior national team 6 months down the line, but he was, and he ended up getting a significant amount of playing time at the European qualifier as well last summer. So that was kind of testament to his effort.
You'll be pleased to know he hasn't got his shorts on today. He's wearing trousers today, so that's okay.
Very good. Glad to hear that.
But what about the future of baseball? Do you think is there more interest in baseball now in this country? Are we going to see more teams setting up?
Well, one of the things I do outside of working with Great Britain baseball is I'm employed by the national governing body, Baseball Softball UK, and we're coming through to the end of this cycle where we get funded through Sport England, and we'll have doubled our numbers across the country. And I think we're actually only one of 4 or 5 sports that are actually performing in the way that Sport England would really like us to. So I think based on that information, based on our success over the last 4 years, the plan we have in the next 4 years, and using, I suppose to be fair, the excitement in sport that the whole country has now thanks to the Olympics, despite baseball not being in the Olympics, that excitement is there, and it's giving us a real opportunity to build some facilities, get more people out, trying the game, and once they experience the game, then they tend to stick around. Our biggest challenge is just making sure people know that there's a team around the corner from them.
Will, good to talk to you this morning. Thank you for that. Will Lintern, who's Ben's coach. And, interesting here. Let me bring Dad into the conversation. John, have you seen a change since, Ben's been working with professionals like this?
Absolutely, yeah. No, I was so impressed with the professionalism and enthusiasm of the GB baseball coaches and Will and his staff, and their ability to put across what Ben needed to work on. Absolutely fantastic. Really a great level of coaching.
Do you have to work hard, Ben?
Yeah, as he was saying, when I made that big change in a few weeks, they gave me a few tips, but I went home and just videoed YouTube of the pros in America doing it, and I just copied them and video myself, go back in, analyse it, and then go back out and try and change and I tried to change it, and I went from throwing completely just awfully to having actual baseball mechanics in the 2 weeks. And I went back, and the coach said, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm Ben." And he's like, I don't know who you are. And I was like, "I'm gonna go play cricket." And he didn't know who I was until I said
you were a different person, that you improved so much.
He didn't recognise me. Yeah.
So locally, then, are you throwing and catching to Dad? Is that part of practice? Is that how it works?
I try, but I throw it a bit too hard for him.
Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. Well, you're going to get to that point. It's going to be difficult, isn't it?
Well, that's right. His velocity now, man, is up to 85 miles an hour, and so there are quite a few balls that I kind of duck out the way of. And,
I'm sure.
So does the dog, and
do you have to go to the gym? Do you have to keep yourself fit?
I finished school when I was 16 to pursue cricket, and then baseball took over. So the last year I've been at the gym, more working on cardio than anything, because we don't have any access to anything that helps us for baseball in terms of weight. So I've just been working out cardio, and
You train with the Wellington Athletic Club?
Yeah, I train with Wellington Athletic Club for track, and the Lincoln Vulcans for swimming, and I just try and get everything done. We're starting out personal training with Paul Cook. We're trying to. We're just trying to get everything done to...
Paul will put you through your paces.
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah,
yes, he will. He certainly will. Hopefully he'll be listening into this as well. What about the future? Mum, what are you hoping for the future for Ben?
Lots and lots of wonderful things. Great Britain Baseball have been fantastic. They've organised a trip for Ben in February. He travels out to Canada.
Yep.
He's going to be training with the college baseball team in Toronto for, I think, 5 weeks. Then he'll travel down with them to Florida, and he'll have 2 weeks of competition in Florida.
With college scouts.
With the being put in front of the college scouts.
And Major League Scouts as well.
scouts.
So they could talent spot you out there.
Yeah, there's two ways. There's either go to college to a high level, or there's medium, or there's low level. I'm hoping to go either medium or high, which would be a bit strange, seeing as I don't know the game that well. Or there's just to get drafted, which is... It is quite it's a long shot. However, I mean, I have only been playing a year, so we're hoping that that's what they see. And
so you could be playing in America or Canada, could you?
Yeah, that's the ultimate. That's what I'm aiming for. I have always set high goals, and my goal is to play Major League Baseball, which would be strange, but you know, I believe I can do it. So
we've introduced you to everybody. We're going to keep tabs on you, see how you progress.
Thank you.
Keep us up to date with as you get nearer to that trip as well. Lots more to talk about. We'll have to have you back in on the programme again. But for the moment, thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Very fascinating.